Alrighty. Hello folks, I got a new Nautilus for you. I'll start with playing. Okay, so let's see. I know I run the risk of using superlatives far too often. I was like the little boy who cried wolf, I guess. If you say, this is my favorite guitar, a whole bunch of times, no one's going to believe you. But this is my new favorite guitar. It's a constantly moving target, you see. So this guitar is kind of special for me because I'm making this for my friend Tom. And Tom was the one who ordered the first Nautilus. So this will be his second Nautilus, and he says his last. We'll just see about that. But Tom helped me. Basically, the Nautilus wouldn't exist, and the turn that I took towards this style of guitar wouldn't have happened if Tom hadn't been my patron, really, and encouraged me to make this. He came up with a lot of the specs he wanted, sort of named a bunch of specs that he wanted in a guitar, and as a result, I ended up designing the Nautilus. So I've always kind of given him co-creatorship of this line of guitars, the Comma series guitars. So Tom, thank you so much. It's been a huge thing for me and taken me in a direction I didn't know I would go. And so they've evolved. I think I've made about 70 of them now, maybe more. I should count, but it's all I've been making for about 4.5 or 5 years now. So these guitars are, well, they're obviously not regular guitars, right? So the sound hole is in the wrong place. That's the first thing you might notice. But there's a lot of stuff that's in the wrong place. So this doesn't have an X-brace system. It has a fan-braced, sort of radially braced fans that go out like this from the center of the bridge plate. Because there's no hole, and I've given this spiel in a lot of other videos, but I'll just rehash it here. Because there's no hole in the middle, and the guitar doesn't have to be structurally braced to compensate for the lack of material here in the middle of the string path, I'm able to use a much lighter bracing pattern, and I get a lot more real estate that's vibrating and is not so much concerned with just holding the guitar together. So these guitars are, at least apparently to the player, because of the location of the sound hole and the big responsive soundboard, they're so loud, so responsive to your ears as a player. And I think they project quite a bit too. I've had opportunity enough to hear them out front. And I just don't even feel like going back to X-brace guitars. Not that there aren't many great X-brace guitars, and X-brace guitars have a quality that this one doesn't have. There's a compactness to the tone of an X-brace guitar that's very suitable for certain musical styles, but what I was looking for was something that was expansive, something piano-like, something that went on and had tons of overtone and lots of sustain. And this has really taken me there. And as I've had a chance to refine this through if it weren't for my customers, I would be a hobbyist, right? I would have no opportunity to make 80 of these things in a row or whatever the number is. I would have no opportunity to attack this with such ferocity and really work on refinements. But that's what I do. And because people are willing to order these from me, which I still think is amazing, I'm able to work on really small details. Guitars are so complex and they have so many contributing factors that I for one, don't believe I can make any meaningful progress unless I make repeats of the same instruments where I change one thing each time. And each one of my customers is a little bit of a guinea pig. But I'm making, because I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, you come to get a comprehensive, comprehensive is the wrong word, an inkling of what's happening with each element of the guitar. But if you change more than two at once, you don't know when you hear the new instrument what exactly is contributing what to the final sound. So from the last guitar I made this top a little bit stiffer, and I put in a very small extra brace down the center line here that's about this long. And I believe that it's given me something that I really like. Now, compared to the first guitar I made for Tom 5 years ago now, I think it's 5 years. God, time flies. This body is less deep, and the top is a little bit thicker. There are a number of little changes in the inside of the bracing. I've gotten much more sophisticated in making this sculptural element, which is this armrest turning into this swoosh that folds back onto itself and surrounds the sound hole. So I've gotten much better at comprehending the way the various planes have to interface and fare into each other. This instrument probably has less bass than the original Nautilus, but it's more balanced. And this has a directness and a quickness that I really treasure. And I think that's coming from the slightly stiffer top, because you can just go bonkers with the lax top and you get a lot of bass, but as the bass response goes up, your top ends kind of suffer to a certain extent. And this one I feel just has just right balanced in the middle. I love the balance of this instrument, and balance is critical. Like, it's great to have one massive feature, like, wow, the top end is so great on that guitar, the bottom end is so enormous, but you don't want it to come at the cost of some other part of the sound. So this guitar has a Sitka spruce top, very, very stiff set of wood, one of the stiffest sets of wood I had in my shop, and beautiful. So it's a nice and thin top. I was able to take it down and still retain quite a bit of thickness as I measure it during my thinning and thicknessing process. It's funny, we say thicknessing, but we're actually thinning, because you can't add wood on there. During the thinning process, I take careful measurements as I'm going along with how much the top deflects under a given weight, and that's how I'm able to control that. The back and sides are Brazilian rosewood, and this is a cool guitar in that this set is asymmetrical. As you can see, there's sapwood over here, there's sapwood here in the cutaway, and no sapwood anywhere else. And so I'd always thought that this set I would probably end up using for a 3-piece back or something to augment another piece, but I showed it to Tom, and he's like, no, I want that set, because he really likes wood grain. And it's really grown on me. The asymmetry of it is very pleasant to me. And I was able to line up this piece of sapwood with the sapwood in the cutaway so that I don't know, it's just such a cool feature. I mean, symmetry is one thing, but being able to sort of manipulate, like a lot of the times my sets are too small. The set is so small that it dictates where I put everything. Like, no, you can only lay out a guitar on it in one way. This was a big set, so I was able to make some executive decisions when I was putting it together, and I really love how it came out. It's, besides being asymmetrical and flats on, it's fantastic Brazilian rosewood, and it just, man, and I can just hear the liveliness in that instrument when I tap it. I also did a thing I've only done on 2 guitars. This is the which I built sort of simultaneously, but this one is the second I'm showing you. It has a leg bevel as well as a rib bevel and the arm bevel. So with this 15-inch guitar, it just fits so snugly against it just sort of blends into your torso. I love that feeling. What else can I tell you about this? It's the usual ebony for all the bindings, ebony fingerboard and bridge, headstock, Shirtler tuners, and a mahogany neck. This is kind of a cool thing. Tom had me put in a little inlay, and I don't usually do inlay because I'm no good at it, and it doesn't really interest me that much, and I generally think it interferes with the aesthetic of the instrument, but we removed the diamonds that I traditionally put in there, and I put in this little Chinese character for friendship. And this is the first time I've ever built a guitar that someone asked for an inlay that actually referred to me, because I've become friends with Tom over the years from all his help and running the BIG Guitar Festival and all that stuff. And he's a buddy as well as a client. So that's a meaningful gesture to me. I like it. I'll play a little bit more. I'm going to start crying. I'll play a little bit more and then get out of your hair. It's almost Christmas and I have to go cut a Christmas tree. What should I play? That was just completely crazy. I didn't know what I was doing, but I kind of got carried away, right? And this guitar makes me do that. Like I just can sort of fall into a trance playing it. And if Tom weren't such a great friend, I would say, I'm keeping this one and I'll make you something else. Anyway, there it is, the new Nautilus. It's almost Christmas 2023, so I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, and I will see you probably in the new year. Thanks very much, and thank you, Tom. Here it comes.